Everybody, it's Jennifer here. I hope you are having a great week. And this week, I wanted to talk about something that happens, I think, to everybody at some point. And to me, it's a lot like dating. And when I would coach new agents, they would come in and they'd be so upset because they met some people at an open house or some buyers they took out several times. And they were just devastated because these people had ghosted them. And it's like dating. They would come in tears. I don't understand. I thought we were getting along so well. Just like somebody who can't understand why that second date never calls them back. But that's kind of what it is. You think you're getting along with somebody really well. You think you've got this great working relationship. And so when they stop responding, they ghost you. What did you do wrong is typically the first question you ask yourself. And so today I want to talk about getting ghosted. First of all, I think it has happened to every single person in this industry, so don't take it personally. Second of all, one thing that I always tell agents is you have to detach yourself a little bit from real estate, because at the end of the day, no matter how great you are, no matter how wonderful you are, people will always do what they think is in their own best interest. Everybody's looking out for number one. So if there is some reason that they think they're going to get a better deal if they go to that builder without you, or this other realtor is going to rebate me back some of their commission, so I'm going to go with them. If they think it's going to benefit them, they are going to drop you and go do what is best for them in the end. Now, they are not always right. A lot of times what they think is best is wrong. So one of the first tips I have to avoid being ghosted is good communication. So from the very beginning, you need to be explaining the process. This typically happens with buyers, obviously. It's kind of hard for a seller to ghost you when your sign is in their yard. So you're working with a new buyer. If you just go out and start showing them homes and assume that they understand how you get paid, that they understand that they need to choose one agent and work with that same agent instead of calling multiple different listing agents to see homes, that they understand the value of having a knowledgeable agent working on their behalf. If they don't understand all of that, then they will tend to be very flaky and very flighty. And if anybody else promises them something better, they will go run to that. Because again, they think it's what's best for them. So it's not always you, it's not always personal, but you need to be a really good communicator and let them know from the beginning, hey, you want to choose one realtor to work with. If you are calling all these different listing agents, they are already working for the seller. They are representing the seller's best interest. You're going to be talking to 20 different people. You need to choose one agent who can show you any home, who's going to advocate for you, understand your situation, knows what's in your best interest. You need to communicate that to them. You need to communicate to them that if there might be an agent out there that's going to rebate them some money back, or they think they're going to save money, or they think they're going to save money by going to a builder without you, you need to communicate that your value in negotiating, and you will be able to get them a better deal, and they're not going to have to come out of pocket as much. They're not going to pay as much for a home if they have a really skilled negotiator on their side. You need to know how to communicate that. You need to communicate how builders work, and that it's not necessarily best for them to go straight to a builder without an agent. They still need representation. They are still spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a product. And at the end of the day, that sales rep there, that builder rep, is not their best friend. They work for the builder. So if there's an issue or a problem, of course, you're going to be on your own trying to fight this big company. Whereas if you have an agent, you have somebody advocating for you and who can get involved and who can stay on top of this process and make sure that everything is going the way that it should. So learning how to communicate those things up front are really important. The second thing I wanted to talk about was the buyer's rep agreement. So I know different agents out there have different philosophies when it comes to buyer's reps. The first thing being that obviously if you don't have one signed and your client goes off to a builder without you or writes a contract with another agent without you, if you don't have any type of agreement in place, then there's not much you can do about it. You just kind of missed out on that client. But even if you do have that representation agreement in place, you need to have the conversation with your clients. I personally don't force a buyer to sign a buyer's rep the first time I ever show them a home. That would scare me off. I try to think of what I would want if I was a consumer. I don't want, that's like, to me, that's like asking somebody to marry you on the first date. I may not like you, you may not like me. Let's test this out a little bit. Let's date a little bit. But one thing that I do is present the buyer's rep when we first meet. Don't ask for their signature, just kind of explain what it is, explain how it works, explain how commissions get paid, and then say, we're going to look at a few homes. If we start seriously looking at things, I'll need you to sign this agreement so they understand what that commitment is. If you have them sign a buyer's rep and they don't understand the commitment, then it doesn't really do any good. Some agents won't show a single house without a signed buyer's rep. It's your business. You need to make your decision for what's best for you. But I also won't show a buyer 20 houses without a buyer's rep. At some point, we're going to have to commit to working together. So I present that up front. So I'm very transparent. They understand what it is and they know that it's coming. And when we really start looking at homes, let's say, hey, remember that representation agreement? Let's go ahead and get that signed so we have it under our belt and we're ready to start making offers. I love working with you. I hope you love working with me. Let's get this going. So explaining the buyer's rep, getting it signed, but getting it signed in the right way is also important. And then my third thing on ghosting is sometimes you are not being ghosted. People, again, are focused on themselves, are focused on their own lives. They are going to call you or take action whenever they are ready, and they will ignore your text. They will ignore your calls. They will not respond to your emails. Doesn't mean that they're not willing to work with you. It just means that they are not ready and do not need your assistance at that time. So unless, we've talked about this in previous videos, unless they tell you, stop contacting me, I don't want to use you to buy a house, you assume that they are just busy. And you just keep following up, because I can't tell you how many times in my career I've thought that I've been ghosted, but because they didn't tell me to quit contacting them, I kept contacting them. And 6 months later, hey, I'm so sorry. My dad was in the hospital. My husband got laid off. You never know that people have things going on in their lives and they don't necessarily have to explain that to you, but it could just be why they're not responding to you right now. I have used the furniture store analogy before. What do you do when you walk into a furniture store and those people, Gallery Furniture or any of these others, there's a whole group of salespeople and they swarm right up to you. And the very first thing you say is, I'm just looking, I don't need any help, because you want to look around and not be pressured. But once I find what I want, I now have to go get one of those salespeople to come help me. Consumers are the same way. They are going to try to push you away and back you off when they are just in the looking phase. But the day that they want to go see that house in person, that they want to make an offer, they now need an agent. And if you are the one who has been following up with them in a way that's not pushy, in a way that's showing your value and offering to help, then you are going to be the one that they call. So silence is not necessarily being ghosted. Silence can mean a lot of things. So just keep following up with people. I've had people who all of a sudden called me after a year of me just hearing nothing. No response to any text, never answering the phone, never replying to an email. And then a year later calling saying, hey, we had some stuff going on. Okay, we're ready to put our house on the market and buy something right now. So was I really being ghosted? No, they just had other things going on and we are there to serve them on their timeline. So keep that in mind too. Sometimes it just happens. You do everything you could, you do everything right. You will lose a buyer. They will slip through your fingers and go off somewhere else. Don't feel bad about it. It is part of the business, but do learn from it and try to put these things in place so it doesn't happen to you very often. It's not as painful when it only happens once a year or once every couple of years. When it happens to you a lot, it gets pretty difficult and very discouraging. So make sure you're doing the right things to build that relationship with people, communicating with them, helping them understand your role and the commitment that you guys need to have to each other. And that will hopefully reduce the amount of times that you ever get ghosted in this career. I hope you guys have a great week and I will see you soon. Bye.